let's introduce all the people that are with us. Now, right now, we're showing you David Dickinson's view from Florida of Jupiter. And, David, I'm going to tell you that this isn't your best work.
No, it's not. Jupiter's only about 10 degrees above the horizon right now, and it's, we've got a cloud deck moving in, too. So.
And this is not an insult to you, David. This is purely physics here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a very, so just, I'm not giving David a hard time. He's got, Jupiter is very close to the horizon, and he's looking through all kinds of atmosphere, and so Jupiter's looking really soupy. But David has got big plans for us, which is that if all goes well, we should get Saturn rising, which will be our first official Saturn sighting of the season. So I cannot wait.
Well, we had it 2 weeks ago, virtual star party.
Was it the one from you or from England?
From me.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
From you? Was it good?
No, it was really cruddy. It was
All
really low to the
Well,
horizon.
good.
Yeah. Looking through, well, you know what? Tonight is probably going to be the same, where it's going to be sort of through a lot of atmosphere, so, yeah.
I may move over there momentarily.
Okay, well, that'd be great, because it looks like your clouds. I know you've got a lot of clouds, so anyway, we're going to move on. We've got Gary and Ella, who I have met in person for the first time last week, which was awesome.
You hung out in the cave?
I've been to the man cave, and I don't know, you can't kind of see, but just above Gary, there's a whole pile of like his airplanes that he's built, and that's an awesome room. I gotta say, I want to build one of these man cave things.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Kyle and I both have our own man caves.
Do you really? Yeah. Doesn't. His guitar collection is out of control. So, and we got Mike Phillips, who I've also met. This is awesome. I've met everybody here.
We just got to get everybody together in the same room at the same time,
right? Yeah. So, and Mike is, of course, in North Carolina, yeah.
North Carolina,
yeah.
Yes.
And you've got a view of M49, which is a
I'm gonna make my way through the. We were gonna take bets on. It's just one of those iffy, faint fuzzies.
Yeah.
It's actually a galaxy. I think it's made irregular or an elliptical, and it's in the tail of Leo. So I'm gonna spend some time, maybe get 3 or 4.
Well, I think it's important for people to know, right? You're our planetary guy,
right?
And you're branching out to DSOs with that telescope. So,
I am, yes. Yeah. It's being adapted very slowly here, so I'm climbing the learning curve, and on top of that, my skies are very iffy, but I haven't made one of these in so long. I can see stars. I'm going for it.
Let's do it. Yeah, no, it sounds great. Dr. Nicole Gallucci.
I'm saving your bet, honey. I am embedding the YouTube link in the event.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I forgot to do that. I'm sure it's on a checklist somewhere, but it didn't even occur to me.
I will share my checklist.
Yeah. Did I write that checklist? I think
No, you didn't. I made a new one.
No, it's hers.
Okay, all right. I know I did create a checklist. So
you did, but I made a super anal retentive Nicole version.
Well, that's good, because I am not that. So, Dr. Pamela Gay.
Hi.
How's it
We're
going?
glad you're home. We can record Astronomy Cast tomorrow.
Are we gonna? You picked a topic, and I forgot what it was gonna be.
I forgot what it was going to be too, but I can find it. It was cool.
All right. We are terrible.
I'll find it before the end of the show.
I'll dig through the email. Yeah. And we've got Dr. Stuart Foreman.
Hi.
Not astrophysicist, doctor, actual doctor.
He's a real doctor.
He's a real doctor.
Everybody's a real doctor.
Everyone's a real doctor. But
I just know how to cut people open.
That's all. If we're on an airplane and someone goes, "Is there any doctor here?" Pamela, Nicole, and Thad will put up their hands and they'll go, "No, real doctor."
Real doctor.
And then Stuart will sheepishly put up his hand and
useful doctor.
Yeah, real doctor. So. Yeah, we got Dr. Stuart Foreman, and you're clouded out tonight, but it was good. And I also hung out with Stuart while I was on my West Coast trip, so that was a great time. Yeah, that was awesome. All right, and Dr. Thad Szabo.
Good evening.
Who I missed, so I'll get you next time.
I'll be out here for a while, and yeah, like I said, sometime I got to get up to the Pacific Northwest, and
it's paradise. It's awesome. You'll love it. All right, well, I'm gonna go back to Gary. Oh no, David's view. There it is. I'm. Nice Saturn. I'm calling it the first Saturn of the season. So, for most people who don't understand, the skies move over the course of the year, and
planets move on top of the moving sky.
Right. So why can we not see Saturn every night?
It's either on the day side of the planet, or frankly, it's just behind the sun, and that you can't look through things. It's just a problem.
It's a problem for finding asteroids too. It's why they didn't see the one coming in over Russia, because it was coming from the sunward side.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Great, David. I think this looks great. Is it a lot higher than Jupiter was low?
It is, yeah. It's about maybe 15, 20 degrees above the horizon here now. So.
And so if people right now want to find Saturn with their own eyeballs, how can they do it?
Look toward, if you know the constellations anyway, right now here in Florida, it's rising off into the southeast. And it's in Libra, it's not quite in Virgo, but it's about, I'm looking with my hand here, about 15 degrees down to the lower left of Spica right now.
Right. Or if you're not that familiar, take the Big Dipper. Hopefully, Big Dipper tends to be one that most people can find, and the handle makes an arc, right? And if you follow the arc of the handle, I'm not sure I'm bending my finger enough to show. Maybe I'll do it this way, right? So you follow the arc of the handle. It takes you through a bright star called Arcturus, which is somewhat reddish. Then you'll hit another bright star that's a very blue-white star. That's Spica. Saturn is going to be to the left of Spica. It'll be the next kind of bright thing over, about the same brightness as Spica over in that region of the sky. It'll be kind of yellowish or cream color.
Yeah.
That's how most people describe it.
Yeah, and so,
I've got a stellarium view up if you want to.
And the way it gets described is arc to Arcturus and spike to Spica.
Okay, so I've had arguments with this. Is it spike to Spica or speed down to Spica? Because I've totally heard both versions.
I've heard speed onto Spica.
Yes!
But spike to Spica is this nice parallel construction. I think I like that better.
I know.
That's how I learned it at the Boston Museum of Science when I was a kid.
but how long will that last, right? Because Saturn is moving.
A couple of weeks.
This year. Essentially...
It reaches opposition in 3 weeks.
So it's not moving much.
Yeah.
Right. And because Saturn takes 30 years to go around the sun, it's going to hang around in this part of the sky, for this year, next year. Then it'll start to drift over closer to Antares. But it moves so slowly across the background of stars that this description will easily work for the rest of this year.
For variable definitions of close.
Exactly.
Yeah. Horseshoes and hand grenades.
The rings are about 19 degrees tilted with respect to our line of sight right now.
Well, that's something else I was going to mention because, I know that Saturn, the angle of Saturn's rings has been changing over the last couple of years. And in fact, a few years ago, you looked at Saturn and you just saw a ball.
Yeah, it was just this edge on. In 2009, we were not pleased.
It was the equinox.
Well, it was the equinox, and it was also the International Year of Astronomy. So the Cassini mission has been lucky enough to get to watch Saturn go through northern solstice, to equinox, and now it's heading towards southern solstice, which is when the sun will be over its southernmost low point on the surface of Saturn, where the sunlight is coming straight down at a perpendicular to the surface. But as it varies, we go from equinox, it's edge on, to it just oscillates back and forth. And this is why Galileo saw it as going from having no rings to having ears. Now, the reason that this is happening isn't because Saturn is actually tilting, it's because Saturn's maintaining a constant tilt relative to the stars, but its position relative to us is changing so that as it gets to be over here, we see a very different angle from when it's over here.
And do you all like to listen to Pamela explain that stuff? Isn't that great? That's Astronomy Cast. So if you want to hear Pamela once a week explain in exactly that way, I highly recommend that you subscribe to Astronomy Cast. And we record that live every Monday at noon.
And tomorrow I've looked through my email, and we're going to be talking about the 50-year anniversary of Arecibo's construction.
So we're going to do the Arecibo Observatory. That sounds great.
And I promise there will be discussions of James Bond and
I am invincible!
and Contact.
And will there be WOW, the WOW signal?
I don't think that was Arecibo.
Wasn't it? Oh, okay.
No,
all right.
it wasn't.
It was a SETI project, but I don't remember which.
Yeah.
It was in Ohio State. It was in, I can't remember the name of the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I'm laughing is because you only call it an Ohio State if you dislike Ohio, because officially the name is called the Ohio State, and those of us that are Ohio neutral just call it Ohio State.
Yeah.
So Stuart, are you killing time just working on moon mappers?
I am indeed. I just thought I'd give a shout out to moon mappers, and since I don't have a telescope, I thought I'd show it off a little bit.
Excellent.
That's great.
We totally love you.
Have you guys not fully observed the entire moon? Have you not mapped every crater on the entire moon?
The issue is these images are half a meter per pixel, which means each image is only about 200 meters across. The moon is big. So
how much of the moon has been mapped at this resolution? The whole thing?
With imagery, yes. By moon mappers, no.
Right. And is it feasible for you? Like, is it in your database? Would you be able to actually map the entire moon?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's our goal.
Okay, all right. Well, so I would sort of remind people as well. Again, not in good practice. We'll probably forget all kinds of things. And the thing I forgot was the fact that you can make comments and ask us questions and make suggestions. So there's a bunch of places you can do that. You can, if you're watching this from the event page, which we remembered to embed at the last minute, you can make a comment there. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can make a comment on YouTube. And if you're watching this just somewhere in somebody's stream on Google+, you should be able to make a comment there. And we hopefully will be able to see every version of that. You can also use Twitter. Just use the hashtag StarParty, and we should get it.
And thank you for the comments on my hat. I got this in Chile. So
that's great. A Chilean hat, a Chilean astronomy hat. Is that what all the astronomers wear on?
All the astronomers wear awesome fedoras.
Do they?
That's such an awesome image.
They are the coolest.
Just chilling at the telescope in their fedoras.
Yeah.
With the Pisco Sours.
So I got a question from Chet 1138. What type of webcam is David using for Saturn? David?
This is a Logitech C2000 or 270 webcam, but is not meant for astronomy. This is just an off-the-shelf, cheap Walmart webcam that was like $20.
Now, did you have to make any modifications to it to make it work like this?
I had to take there's a little IR meniscus filter on it. I took that off, and I took the lens off the camera, and I have an eyepiece barrel, 1.25-inch eyepiece barrel, where the lens would be. So essentially the telescope, the 8-inch telescope I got it hooked up to, is the lens for the webcam.
And that's one way that we do this, and I know that Stuart has a kind of a different method that he uses, which is that he uses his DSLR, and I've actually got handy my DSLR adapter here, so I'll just hold that up. So
yeah, mine's very much a junkyard setting.
Yeah, well, this is bordering on a junkyard setup as well, but so this is a T-ring adapter, right? And so what you can do is you can take this fits into the eyepiece, and then this part bolts on to the camera, and so you don't have a lens on your camera, on your DSLR camera. In this case, I've got a T3i, and you just clip it in, and then you just stick that into your telescope, and then that acts like your CCD, your video camera, or if you want to take your pictures. It's a really elegant way to get a good view, to get good pictures of the sky.
Yeah, it's basically like having a huge telephoto lens on
Yeah, it's a big lens, big telephoto lens on your camera, and it's a really great way to do it.
My setup will do planets, the moon, the sun when it's filtered, and bright double stars. It won't do nebula or anything like that. It's not sensitive enough to do that.
You should try with a DSLR if you have one.
I have one. I do. I've got a Nikon. It doesn't do live imaging. I would like to get the new Canon. I think it's the 60DA that's optimized for astrophotography.
Yeah, let's get Canon to. We'll talk to Canon and see if we can get them to give us some samples or something. Yeah, let's get some samples happening. All right, well,
merchandising.
Yeah, let me get onto Gary's view here, because we're gonna have to say goodbye to this.
Yep.
Oh no.
Yeah. A couple more weeks, and
Say
it's not going to be shootable
for the summer.
Now on this one,
Oh, but this is one of the few
without
things I can
getting-
find with my Questar with no finder scope.
so I can zoom in a little bit, and you can see some of the details. So that's at the full resolution of the camera. I'll drop back to there.
Wow.
I figure I'll hit this, Horsehead, and Rosette, and this may be the last week. Could be one or two
potentially.
more.
Christopher Butler asks, how far does Saturn vary its angle to us? I know that we've seen an edge on, but how flat can it appear to us?
It can go up to about 27 degrees plus or minus, so I guess 27 degrees towards the south and 27 degrees towards the north. So this is just slightly more tilted than our own planet is.
Oh, we didn't mention what this is. This is the Orion Nebula.
What, you all
I was
know it
talking
by now?
about Saturn.
No, I understand. No, but this thing on the screen, which people are like, ooh, this is nice.
Our long time in repeat
We
viewers
can't see
should
what thing you're
recognize it.
focused on.
No, I know. I always just forget. Like, we're so, I mean, while the Orion Nebula is in season, we try to get as many images of it as we can because it's just such a spectacular object. And at the same time, when it's not in season, then that's all anybody wants to see. So,
Yeah.
when can we see the Orion Nebula?
That's so gorgeous when you zoom in. It's like turbulent. You can actually
Yeah.
see the motions of the gas.
Yeah.
That's a gorgeous picture.
How long is this exposure, Gary?
This is a 1 minute.
And what's cool is it's not actually turbulence, it just looks that way. What we're actually seeing is places where there's more material that appear dark, and where there's less material, it's more light is able to shine through. So we're just seeing differences in the density that are usually caused by compression waves rather than by turbulence. But that's sure what it looks like.
Is a lot smaller scale, yeah.
And requires much higher densities.
Yeah.
So
Ngrip on YouTube asks, is Jupiter, and in particular Europa, visible at this time of year? Thad, is Jupiter visible right now?
In the evenings just before sunset, and I mean, Europa orbits Jupiter every 3.5 days, roughly. So one place that I'll usually check it's called skyviewcafe.com. And at the top, if you go there with your browser, you have Java enabled, it will come up at the top of the display. There will be a couple of tabs, one for the sky, one for the ecliptic, and one says moons/GRS. So that's what moons of Jupiter and Saturn are visible at that time, as well as the Great Red Spot, GRS. And so you can look there to see which moons are visible, also if there are shadow transits, if a moon is transiting, and I've found it to be way more accurate than even using Stellarium or other programs. WinJupos is probably best, but that's kind of tricky to figure out. Here, go to skyviewcafe.com, click on moon/GRS tab, and it'll show you which ones are visible at any particular time. So, so is it visible? Well, I guess I could go check.
Well, David could just see it, but right now,
yeah.
I mean, for us on the West Coast, it's absolutely visible, right?
Yes, yes. Nice and
I
high.
ran in Starry Night. All 4 moons were visible at the beginning of the star party.
Yeah.
Jupiter's below the horizon now. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch when we do, I mean, we're going to start losing Jupiter now, but often when we do have Jupiter, we'll try and view the moons and also try to identify which one is Europa and which one's Io and try to run through them. So. Hopefully, maybe next week we can take another crack at it and have somebody on the West Coast do some planetary stuff.
Yeah.
So,
And AstroGuys is pointing out in Twitter that the moon will move into the picture for next week's virtual star party and pass near Jupiter next Sunday. So I suspect I'm going to be outside with my 300mm lens, and I got one of those awesome tracking tripods.
Did you?
Gary had.
Have you tried it yet?
I haven't. We haven't had clear skies while I've been home yet. So as soon as we get a clear sky, I'm going to take it out to the farm and see what I can see.
I nearly got one, and I realized that I would just need to use it to collect rainwater, and so I figured I'll wait. But I was going to move to Mike's view, but I'm just seeing Windows, Mike. I see something there.
Yeah, I was shooting M87 after M49, and it's kind of boring. So I'm going to go to 89, which I think
only
is
an optical.
Just as I'm not that cool. See.
Douglas Friday is recommending the Night Watch book by Terrence Dickinson, and I absolutely agree. Where's my Night Watch?
We used to sell that when I was in high school.
Yeah, I whenever anyone wants a recommendation for a book for astronomy, that's the one that I cut my teeth on. I learned all my constellations and all the objects in the sky with Night Watch. I think he's Canadian. So
the nice thing about it is that it's just it just shows you the bright stuff and the stuff that you can see. It doesn't show you every single star in the sky and the tiny little galaxies that you'll never see without a 16-inch scope. It just gives you the highlights. It's a really nice beginner book. I still use it.
Yeah. Graphius79 is mentioning that some DSLR cameras have trouble coming to focus with some telescopes. You can use a Barlow lens to fix this. Some Barlow's a removable lens cell, so it only magnifies at 1.5 times instead of 2. So that's exactly true. So what he's talking about is back focus, which is a problem that I had with my telescope. So and so the problem is that with the DSLR, the CCD can't get close enough to the point where the focus needs to work, and so it's always out of focus. And so you need to put it on a Barlow. It's kind of an extender, and then it'll work in focus. So if you're having trouble with the back focus, you can use a Barlow.
Graphius79 also pointed out something interesting about the date, December 21st in the year 2020. Got a little ways to go. He says, put it up in Stellarium and see what happens. So I just go over here and do it. At about 5:30 in the evening, Jupiter and Saturn are right on top of each other.
Share your view. Let's see this.
Wow.
Oh. Yeah, so I didn't even realize it. I'm like, okay, it's Saturn, big deal. And then I try and read the word Saturn, and I don't know if you can see this, but Jupiter and Saturn are right on top of each other.
Zoom in. Enhance and magnify.
What year is this?
Oh my God, 2020.
Enhance and magnify.
I don't know how.
Roll your scroll wheel.
Not.
Roll your scroll wheel.
She's on a Mac.
My laptop.
Three-finger salute.
Do you have a page up?
Command plus.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. I don't know.
Open Apple Shift C.
No.
Shut up.
On a Mac, you can't do it.
Well, while she fiddles around, I'm shooting M89, which is just as boring as the other two here.
That's way more exciting than.
Okay, well I'm gonna move to.
It's more exciting than me.
Okay, you let us know when you've got it.
I'm not going to. I don't have a mouse here.
I think the problem with that conjunction for us Northern Hemisphere folks is that it's at a fairly low declination, so it'll never really.
If we're still doing virtual star parties in 7 years, we will absolutely.
We'll send someone to the correct place.
Yeah. So let's all meet up in Australia.
Yeah. Jim Meeker, Pamela's asking for for you to post a link to the tracking camera mount. Now, Gary is the one who got us all hooked on them. So, what is it, Gary? It's the Orion.
Orion. If you just go to telescopes.com.
Yeah.
And look up the accessories, I can grab it here in a minute.
Sure.
It's actually telescope.com, not telescopes. No.
Right.
Oh, telescope. Okay, thank you.
They're very different. Well, I'm going to move to your beautiful Horsehead Nebula here, Gary.
Okay. And it's be the Horsehead.
I approve.
And I'll let somebody explain it. This star right here is extremely overexposed because when you look at the Orion Nebula, this is the left-hand star of the belt. Alnitak, is that right?
Alnitak, yes. Yep.
So I'll let
Zeta
somebody
Orionis.
How high above the horizon is this for you, Gary?
Right now it's about 30 degrees.
Okay. What's the moon doing right now?
It's almost new.
Yeah, okay. Jim Craig
There's an
asks,
app for that. Fraser.
I know. I don't even have it handy. What's that date? So Jim Craig's asking, what's that date again? I have Stellarium up and running. And the command to zoom on Stellarium is Control plus arrow key up.
That didn't work for me.
Command
that
plus
just made
arrow key up.
Command, little apple.
Plus. Command plus.
Yep, little apple and then arrow up.
I've got it ready to go. I'm screen sharing it right now.
All right.
So.
All right. Somebody else. Somebody with an actual mouse. Do it.
Step aside, Nicole. I'm going to install Stellarium right now on this new computer.
Good.
And no, I don't see it, Dad.
No.
No, I just see a big open screen.
It's,
Pamela is showing us the.
It's December 21st, 2020. Which means, of course, there's going to be some kind of.
The world will end.
We need to start now with the apocalyptic theory.
There will be an astronomy cast trip for that.
Oh.
Will there?
Wait, you guys are all coming for the solar eclipse here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have.
Is the solar eclipse going to pass your location?
The next two solar eclipses
20 miles
cross.
south of us.
They will cross. The next two solar eclipses will cross at a point a few miles south of us. So we're gonna get.
I was going to go up to Oregon, but Oregon is always iffy with the weather.
Yeah, the weather can
And
be
we're more
dicey.
fun.
Well,
You,
Stuart, I think it depends. If you go east of the Cascades, it's a desert. So I'm
That's
planning on heading. Sorry, Nicole and Pamela, but I'm planning on heading east of the Cascades for August 21st, 2017.
Yeah, I think I'll join you there. That sounds close to me.
yeah,
South
Idaho.
Carolina.
well, we should probably have a meetup there then, because that's kind of where I was going to go.
There'll be a West
Yeah.
Coast
Oh.
meetup. There'll be a Midwest meetup. There'll be an East Coast meetup.
And we'll all be
We
streaming.
want a desert. Yeah.
With
Wow.
our Google
Um,
Glass.
And you're gonna have it in North Carolina too. Man, this is crazy. This is gonna be outrageous.
Yeah, the tail end kind of goes like pretty near the North Carolina-South Carolina border, doesn't it? It kind of goes right out over like Charleston or Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, it was. I don't think I get it directly here in Raleigh, but I think it was close enough that I think a
it-
decent
And so,
Yeah,
what's the
right
date of that
over-
eclipse again?
August 21st, 2017.
And of
goes
course,
right
we'll probably
lifetime
want to
away.
live. We'll probably
it's
want to live broadcast it, but I just want to watch it.
It's
a
the
Monday.
music one. It's hitting Seattle. It's hitting Nashville. It's hitting St. Louis. So pick country, blues, or rock, and
Grunge,
you've got a
yeah.
city choice.
Have I told you my crazy idea for this yet?
No.
Uh-oh.
No, like look at brace for impact, Pamela. Okay. Wouldn't it be cool if somebody, and maybe somebody's already done this, composed like a symphony orchestra, like for an eclipse, like a
Yeah, we talked
like a
about this one for
soundtrack
the last
to an
one.
eclipse?
Yeah, we could
And
get
then
someone
wouldn't
to
it
do
be
that.
cool to like get a band or get like an orchestra ready and actually play this music that's been composed for a solar eclipse while everyone's watching the eclipse?
And it
It'd be like
depends on
watching
the
an
eclipse,
in a
because
movie.
they're not all the same length. The one in
Right, so they
2017
would have to time it and then have
Right.
the music and then have it be silent during the part where it's actually
Good thing
Just
we
a
have
long
math.
string.
We have time to get that composed, and I'm sure we can find someone to do it, and I'm sure we can raise the
I think
funding, so we should
I'd put
do
the
that.
idea out there, and at some point a composer will go, "Hey, I could do that," and then boom, this is how this works.
I think it's a
All
cool
the
idea.
Composers watching.
That's how the whole Star Party idea came up with in the first place. So,
That's right.
all right, you know what? We're not getting a lot of new stuff here. I hate we're
Are we
doing
done
this.
talking about the horse?
Yeah, no, we're done. We love the Horsehead Nebula. That's great.
and the flame.
More.
We were talking about the platforms. I just was looking it up. In the Sky and Telescope this month, they review a new platform which calls the Ioptron Sky Tracker, a
saw
news
that.
tracking platform for camera-only astrophotography. They say it's among the best ever. So it might be an alternative to the Orion if you're looking for
It's a
it.
pretty good price on that too. I saw it was like $300, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
So
not bad.
so if you go to the Sky and Telescope, and this month on their Sky and Telescope test reports is the Ioptron Sky Tracker. Just since we were talking about it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get Corey to join us. He just caught an ISS image, an image of the ISS pass over his head, and
That's
was
cool.
gonna try and bring it into the hangout. So,
Nice.
Bishy Bob says, "I need more astronomy cast, please." Yes, we
Yeah, we
apologize.
know.
We're deeply aware of
We
the
have up to
terrible
episode
schedule.
293 done. We understand that 13 of those aren't online. We're
Yes.
working on it.
13? Oh, okay.
They're coming. They're
Yeah,
coming.
okay, all right.
They're coming.
Corey, how's it
We'll
going?
have a deluge.
Yay, Corey!
How long has it been since we've
Hey.
had Corey in this? This is awesome. So Corey, can you explain? You were just texting with me, and can you explain what you just did?
Well, there was an International Space Station pass above my house, or near my house, I guess, just about 45 minutes ago, and I captured it on film, and it's actually framed and stacked pretty well, so I can share that.
Yeah, didn't we talk about this being live though?
We did.
You're late.
45 minutes.
Fraser!
45 minutes
Fraser!
is not.
This is a transient event.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, good luck catching that live.
All right. Well, too, let's take a look at Gary's rosette because it's awesome, and then and that will give Corey a chance to sort of queue up his image of the ISS, and we'll let it pass that it's 45 minutes late this time. 45.
And
yeah, 45
Fraser
minutes
loves the
late.
rosette.
I do So we always go to that.
When it's in view.
When it's in view.
Now, if you could see this in real life, you'd see that it's a beautiful red nebula.
Oh my God! Perfect. We watched this too many times.
For those who don't know what just happened, go watch the 3-minute piece that Google did on the virtual star party.
Oh my God, guys! It's been almost a year at this point, and we're still.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because the next Google I/O is coming up soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it. Wah wah.
Wah wah.
Wah,
wah.
So I need someone with a PhD in astrophysics or astronomy or even radio astronomy to explain what this thing is.
Hey!
But not in internal.
Pissed.
Visible. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So,
Time to throw the hat down. Let's go.
all right, so we got an emission nebula here. This is hydrogen that we're seeing. Gary is shooting with a filter that is particularly tuned to a certain wavelength that hydrogen atoms that are glowing with this particular shade of red. Imagine it being red. So as the electrons are dropping from higher energy levels to lower energy levels, they give off this characteristic light. So what we're seeing is concentrations of hydrogen gas getting pumped full of energy by all these hot new stars that are around there.
And those
Was that good?
those dark lanes, that was great.
Dark lanes, so that's denser material.
That is the dust when I don't clean my house.
Yeah. Can we just squidge that off of the picture? No, we can't.
No.
Because those structures are light years across, and they are potentially collapsing to form new stars. So we're could be essentially watching stars being born when we take a photo of this thing.
All right, I see Corey's images there. Awesome!
The space station.
Look at
That's-
that. That's no space station. That's no moon.
I wonder why it's a dashed line like that, because the sucker's not rotating.
I was just going to ask if it's rotating.
Dashed
yeah.
because it's multiple exposures.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
So
20,
the
I
gaps
did
are your
20
shutter
second
flash.
exposures. So each dash represents about 20 seconds of real time.
Okay.
Oh, so your camera can just dump raw. It doesn't have to. It doesn't do any. You have it set not to do any background processing. Because I know if I was to try this with my DSLR, it would say, okay, well, you took a nice long exposure. I'm going to sit here and integrate out your dark frame for you. So.
Yeah. I didn't. I have it all manually set up.
So could you have done like with Magic Lantern and actually done like a big long exposure?
Dark current.
You can do a bulb. I could have done a bulb exposure to do like 3 minutes or whatever if I wanted to. The only problem is what you see there. I mean, I still do have light pollution, so the whole sky would just get blown out.
Yeah.
And not only that, but these CCDs aren't cooled enough that you don't get too much noise when you do that long of an exposure. So the longer the exposure, the more what's called dark current, which is what it's automatically trying to subtract out of Thad's images because he hasn't fussed to turn it off.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
That's really cool. And so how did you find out that this was going to be happening? Because it looks like you were set up and ready to go.
Yeah, there's just an app on my phone that alerts me whenever ISS passes or iridium flares or I forgot what else are going to happen that's visible above my latitude and longitude. So,
Is it a heavens above?
No, it's called ISS. I don't even remember. ISS notification or something like that. I'll look at
awesome.
it.
And you've
It's
moved
called
into your
ISS.
new place, right? Is this from your new house?
Yeah, this is from my new house. It's in my backyard. Yeah.
Congratulations. It almost sounds like your house is a little echoey still.
Oh, maybe. Well, yeah, it is. It's hard floors, so that sounds about right.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations for getting in there. Oh, Stuart's got a view of the rosette here. In color.
Well, this is a stacked in process, 3-hour view. But I just wanted to show the red compared to Gary's, what it's kind of the hydrogen alpha aspect of it. So this is not live, but I thought I'd share because Gary's got his. There you go. Yeah.
And I recommend. So people are recommending ISS detector for Android.
NASA Spot the Station.
Yeah.
That's
and,
what I
and,
use to use the ISS detector.
And I really like Twist, TWISST, as a Twitter. It's a Twitter address, and so you follow that, and then you'll get a notification. You'll get a mention in Twitter when the space station is about to fly overhead. So if you're constantly tracking Twitter, and that's the way you receive your information, then you'll get that. So yeah, at TWISST.
We don't know anyone like that.
No, we don't know anybody. Well, awesome, Corey. Thanks for joining us, and I can't wait to see. Once you've got your new observatory set up, you've got plans to build like an actual enclosure for your telescope, right?
Yeah, I'm planning on building just a shed with a roll-off roof that I can use, and just leave everything set up at all times. So.
And how are the skies? I mean, you've got some light pollution here. How dark are your skies there?
They're actually really good. That is, the ISS just happened to be going over some nearby like warehouses that have some lights on them, and it was really low. But actually, when I go at, I don't know, anywhere from about 40 degrees and higher, I can do. What did I do? I did 45-second exposures at ISO 3200 and stacked them, and it was nice and dark and wonderful. So.
That's great. One I know. I mean, one of the things that we've been talking about is bringing those star trails into a view at some point. So
yeah,
rolling around your head. Yeah, no, that'd be great. Awesome. Well, you can stick around for the rest of the show if you want. We've probably got another 15 minutes or so, but if you need to book, that's also fine. But it was great. You were just mentioning to me that you got this done, and I wanted to show it in the Star Party. So that's awesome.
You want me to share? I can share one of my single exposures from last Monday, if you'd like.
Yeah.
So you can see what it would look like from my sky.
Yeah.
Get on that.
Thad, while we're waiting, you can turn off the dark subtraction in your camera.
I'm pretty sure I'd seen that, but I've just recently got a DSLR, and so it's still in the very much new playing kind of phase.
Yeah.
So,
which DSLR did you get? That?
My sister-in-law sold us her Canon D80, or not? Yeah.
No?
Nikon D80. Sorry. Yeah.
I don't know Nikon.
Yeah, it's a mystery to us.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's Corey's view. Oh, nice.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's just
What kind of cluster is that?
That's M13.
That's a globular cluster. So how long is that exposure?
That's a 20-second ISO 3200.
Really?
Yeah. And if you look over here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a galaxy, and I don't remember the NGC number of it, but.
Oh.
That's I mean, the tracking on this is just phenomenal. Then.
And this is your Sorry, Corey. This is your DIY wedge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the DIY EQ platform for my Dobsonian. Yep. So.
That's pretty sweet.
Well,
Schmidt's wedge.
Okay, that one's pretty cool. I'll pop up one other one.
I missed it. Which globular cluster are we looking at?
M13.
Very pretty.
Let's see.
The oldest thing you will see with your eyes.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's really good. But I mean, I think people need to understand how important this image is, because Corey has a Dobsonian, a really big, it's a 12-inch Dobsonian, but it's, they're renowned, they're big light buckets, but they don't do any tracking, and so Corey has home built his own tracking mount for it. So he built his own wedge and integrated a drive into it, and so this 20-second exposure, if you didn't have this wedge going to actually track the sky, it would just be a blur of stars. So and 20 seconds exposure is so quick. I mean, Gary, how long is this exposure here of your galaxies?
This is 1 minute.
That's a minute.
That's
so
M81 and 82.
Yeah. I'm really excited, Corey. We need to have you back, man.
Thank you, Chet. Thank you, Chet. 1138.
Sombrero. I got the sombrero too. That.
Oh, look at that!
Love that dust lane.
Wait, wow.
Love that dust lane.
Wait, do you have a color CCD?
That's just using my DSLR.
Oh, Oh.
This is what we're talking about. This is the magic of these modern DSLRs. It's amazing.
Wow.
This is a 20-second?
No, this is a stack.
Jake Pember is already working on my soundtrack for the solar eclipse. So that's great. Thanks, Jake.
Somebody else's, Helen Reed.
Yeah, we got two people working on it. They should collaborate then.
Yeah. I want to point out that Vance Macaulay found that the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction in 2020 that I failed to embiggen, they passed within 6 arc minutes of each other.
Wow.
Wow.
So you'd be able to see some of Jupiter's moons
Superimposed.
superimposed on Saturn.
Depending if you're on the right, I mean, would the position on Earth matter at all? A little bit?
Yes, it might.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you would get parallax of seeing where the moons are relative to Saturn because of,
Which means you could actually start to do distance measurements, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool.
So
Fraser, this sombrero is a single exposure, not stacked, not edited at all.
Yep.
This is straight off the camera. So.
Wow.
And not to shy away from, I mean Gary's got M81 and M82 up here, but the sombrero is an interesting object because typically when you see dust lanes like this, you think spiral galaxy. Spiral galaxies tend to have the gas and dust that form new stars. The sombrero, though, seems to be a bit ambiguous, and longer exposures show that the central portion looks more elliptical or possibly lenticular. And then you have this ring of dust around the outside. So I remember kind of going over this with students the one semester and saying, well, there's dust. It's got to be a spiral. And then I looked it up and they say, well, we're not so sure anymore. That the central regions do look more like what an elliptical or lenticular galaxy would look like.
Well, and speaking of, I want to get to Gary's view because it's gorgeous as well. So M81 and M82.
That's what it are.
Yay!
And that's just fantastic. Really look at the spiral arms there. In which is the one on the right?
The one on the right is M81.
Is M81.
That's M81.
And are the two in some kind of gravitational interaction?
Yes.
Yes.
If you look at
Harassment.
the neutral hydrogen with a radio telescope like the VLA, you actually see the hydrogen disks are interacting. So out where we don't see the visible light stars interacting, but the gas is actually interacting, and we can see that with a radio telescope.
VLA.
Just skirting through each other.
Yeah, we can actually resolve the interactions when the VLA is in its largest configuration.
Tom Nath is saying that Nikons don't have shutoff for dark frames. It does have auto dark subtracts.
Okay.
For the Nikon.
Okay. So I'm stuck.
Chet 1138 says, how big of a DOB are you using? So I know he's got a 12-inch. I mean, I think it's really important just to know just the investment. I mean, what's a 12-inch DOB run?
Are you talking about mine, Fraser?
Yeah.
It's a 10.
It's 10-inch. What does a 10-inch DOB run? Like?
I paid $500.
Yeah, they're not that expensive.
So, I mean, just the quality of the images that you're getting, I mean, the dark skies are doing a lot of the heavy lifting, right? But having that wedge and that 10-inch Dobsonian, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to sort of be doing this live. Do it live.
Do it live.
We were talking a little bit before.
Washed out in light from the clouds.
So I mentioned earlier that M13 is the oldest thing you can see, and TWW1FA asks, is it really older than M31? Yes, the stars in a globular cluster are older. However, the other thing you might be thinking of is M31 is further away. So the oldest photons, the photons that have traveled the furthest to hit your naked eye, probably the Andromeda Galaxy.
That you can resolve with your eye. There are photons from the most distant background galaxies hitting your eye. You just can't resolve it.
You just don't know it. But the furthest thing you can see would be Andromeda. But those globular clusters, all those stars were around before the galaxies were even put together.
Okay, so best name on YouTube here, Cognitive Disco Dance.
What? Where's that?
It says, I'm interested in finding out more about that Dobsonian EQ mount of Corey's URL. So Corey, has anyone... I know you've posted some,
Yeah, actually, Corey, you want to do an article for CosmoQuest?
Say yes.
But don't you have like a sort
I have on my
images that you
website.
took.
I've got all of the photos, and there's like an album on my Google Plus page. well.
And so
basically how I built it in pictures. So
and where do we find your website? Because I know you often will do some back before you joined us, you're doing some live streams of the moon and stuff. So where's your website?
Yeah. It's I'll put it on the toolbox here. It's called oda.otis8.com. It's a bad name, but
oh no.
But do a search for Corey on Google Plus, and you'll find all of his pictures and a lot of stuff. So he's got lots.
And I will sweet talk him into writing a summary that links to all the places you need to go for CosmoQuest.
Yeah, all right. How's your clouds there, David?
Not too good, actually. I was trying to acquire Titan. And as I took it out, the clouds rolled in front, so I lost my lock on Saturn.
And Mike, what are you using? What image are you using? Is it a what camera are you using? Because
I have a Canon. It's a 7D. Mine is not modded like Corey's is, though, and I think I'm gonna hit that part of it next because I lose quite a bit.
The one I used recently is not modded anymore. I actually sold that. So those images are from an unmodded Canon 550D.
Are you in the modding business now that you sold it? Maybe I'll pay you to mod it.
No, I'm gonna send this one away to get modded because I don't want to screw it up.
You're gonna let some professional mod it?
Yeah,
I had a guy mod mine.
You got me hooked on the Magic Lantern, and I've been using that like crazy now. I love it. So if anyone's got a Canon, like a Canon T3i, T2,
cool.
60D Magic Lantern, lets you put a whole bunch of additional functionality on your camera quite safely.
Somebody's shooting satellites at M100.
That's me. I didn't know. Look at that.
There we go.
Very nearby object, very distant object, all in one frame.
Yeah. Is that that's how far is M100? Because I'm totally lost with all these galaxies here. This is my
part of the Virgo cluster, so it's about 60 to 65 million light years away.
Really?
Yep.
Jeez.
The current updated distance, they change these things every time they remeasure the Hubble constant.
Is difficult.
Yeah. They're putting it at 55,000 light years with latest numbers.
55 million. Yeah.
Million? What did I say?
55,000.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
100,000 light years.
55,000 would put it.
I think we'd be in a world of hurt if it was that close.
It would be. Yeah. The sky would look awesome, though. I mean, can you imagine? You hit the Milky Way, and then there's this other one, coming in at some angle.
I've seen the simulations
There'd be
of what it looked like when
quasar.
Andromeda
Yeah.
and Milky...
The Milkdromeda. Yeah.
I want to be alive then.
Yep.
No.
And as we've mentioned, the people are arguing between Milkdromeda and Milkomedia and
Milkdromeda.
Milkdromeda, yeah.
Milkdromeda just rolls off the tongue better.
Yeah.
That's right, dudes.
So I think we'll wrap up in another 5 minutes. But before we do, and just to make sure we get this part wrapped up, so I just want to make sure that. Oh, hey, there's Saturn.
David's got Saturn back.
Oh,
yeah,
squirrel. So let's just make sure that everyone knows how they can see more of what everybody does, because everybody is awesome. So if we wanted to find out more Corey Schmitz, where do we find you, Corey? Did you put your website into your Hangout? You've muted yourself.
You can find me on Google Plus is the best place. I put stuff on my website too, but not as much.
oda.otis8.com.
Yeah, I need a better name on there. But, I don't update it as much as Google
Schmitz
Plus.
Mounts. How about that?
You'll
you'll do like an you'll do like an artisanal mount for people, just handcrafted.
Exactly.
With
the thing is, I can't take a ton of credit for it because I learned how to build it, from a lot of help online and everything. There's a Yahoo group.
Shoulders of giants. Nothing wrong with that.
Really, it's true.
You can make them out of mahogany and teak and have brass, because exposed brass gears, very
brass
something.
Highlights in ebony that has been acquired at great cost.
Yeah. It's mounts. All right. So David Dickinson, where do we find it? I see you've got your Twitter handle there.
Yes, I am on AstroGuys with a Z. There's also a blog that's AstroGuys with a Z. I am on Universe Today. I am on Listosaurcanada.com, and I do have an article lined up with Sky and Telescope that has honorable mention of the eventual star party. Hopefully, sometime this summer it should be coming out.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, you've been putting out a bunch of great articles on Universe today. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Gary, where do we find more Gary?
We found M101
Wow.
here, and this went up. Let me put it over here. The M101 here with a satellite going through it. And this little blob down here I'm just looking up is NGC 5474 Spiral Galaxy.
Cool.
That's awesome.
And they cannot be the same galaxy that Mike was looking at, because Mike's on the East Coast and Gary's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Those satellites are pretty near to Earth's surface, relatively.
Yeah.
So.
I've had in 1 9-minute time on a target, I've had 3 different satellites move through.
It's annoying.
They're all like flies.
And Mike, is that your Twitter handle?
So yeah, no, I would just search for this. I'm kind of like all over the place,
Yeah,
and unfortunately, you can't just look up my name because I have a fairly common name. So
Yeah.
if you search for MAPHILLI14,
But your website's got a really great sort of a lot of your astrophotography and again some really great images of your telescope setup. So, what's your website? If a person searches for that.
You search for this handle, but you can go to it's the same user ID. It's MAPHILLI14.webs.com.
.webs.com.
I use it to front end all of my various endeavors from planetary to deep sky to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And just to remind everybody, if you want, by all means, post images into this into the event. So if you go to the event, there's a button that lets you upload images, and of course, with the astronomers, they often do this. But even if you're, just an amateur astronomer and you've been taking pictures, by all means, put them in. Ideally, pictures that you've taken, but ideally, images that have anything to do with astronomy would be nice.
None of those Hubble pictures. We see those all the time.
Yeah, we see those. Are boring. Cool. And Nicole, thank you very much for joining us with your cool Chilean hat.
Anytime, sir.
Awesome.
It was really sunny. I wasn't prepared for summer.
Yeah. You're sort of like alabaster skin, just couldn't handle the high altitude direct sunlight.
It's amazing I didn't get a sunburn. It's truly amazing.
Well, you're in that high altitude too, yeah.
Oh, they give out like SPF 50 sunblock on the site.
Oh, do they?
That plus they were checking our blood oxygen level. Oh, it was good times.
Well, it's kind of a dangerous place to spend any time in, right? High altitude.
It's a dangerous place to bring 100 journalists from around the world.
Yeah,
to.
high altitude, sunlight, very dry, good beer, very dangerous.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to. Well, we weren't supposed to drink, but the employees are not allowed to drink 24 hours before going on site. They actually
I can imagine. Dr. Pamela Gay, so we're going to see you tomorrow for Astronomy Cast.
Astronomy Cast. Yeah, and I have to confess something. I did not realize that Astro Guys, who I knew on Twitter, and David Dickinson, who I knew on Google+, was the same human.
Was the same person.
Now.
There you go.
That is I.
That's the same person. Also the writer on Universe Today. So yeah, they're all the same person.
Yeah.
All right.
I had 3 of you.
Thanks, Stuart. I know you had cloudy skies, and you were often one of our most dependable people, and yet the your weather was not not helping out. So next week.
Yep.
Wah wah.
Wah wah. And there's Stuart's Twitter handle, whatever this Twitter thing is.
Stu Foreman.
What?
Stu Foreman.
Oh, Stu Foreman. I get it. I get it. Nicole, do you see it?
No.
Oh boy, this one's gonna haunt us for the next month, isn't it?
Oh no.
Stuart's Twitter handle is S24man.
I can't see it.
Oh.
It's all fuzzy. I see.
Stu Foreman, yeah.
That was a good cover story.
Yeah. And
Put your hat down over your brow.
And so if we want to take your compelling astronomy class, Thad, where do we go?
So I'm at Cerritos College in Norwalk, California, or follow me on Twitter at AstroThad or Google+, just Thad Szabo on Google+.
And one thing that's very interesting is to check out Rate My Professor.
Don't do that. Don't ever do that to anyone you like.
His ratings are very good. He's
Oh,
much
Now,
beloved.
I've never actually looked
until
at my
everybody
own.
floods in and goes, let's mess with this guy.
Let's mess with
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Speaking of classes, I do have an announcement to make. CosmoQuest is Cosmo Academy is doing 2 classes that are coming up. They're online classes. They're done Google Hangout style. There are
8 students per class.
Yep, cosmoquest.org/classes. You'll see the current offerings that are coming up. On April 15th, we're doing Sun and Stellar Evolution, so I think that's Ray Sanders teaching again for us.
Dear Astronomer.
Dear Astronomer. So there's a link there for Eventbrite where you can sign up. And then Introduction to Cosmology. We have Dr. Matthew Francis who's teaching that course starting April 23rd.
And he's Dr. M.R. Francis on Twitter. So
Yep.
Dr. Mr. Francis is an unfortunate way it looks,
Dr.
but
Mr. Francis.
it's Dr. Matthew R. Francis.
So,
But-
yes.
But, you know, I mean, the whole thing with CosmoQuest, and this is where I begin our CosmoQuest rant, right, is that, you know, our goal on CosmoQuest is to really give regular folk an opportunity to contribute to science that's actually getting done, to actually help with the work that astronomers need to complete their research. But we also recognize that for a lot of people, just like coming in and for example, mapping craters is not enough. You want to understand more of the underlying physics and astronomy of what's going on. And so this is kind of this next level with CosmoQuest, is we're trying to actually provide courses that will help raise people's level of astronomy understanding and maybe to contribute at a more complicated level in the future. So I think this is great that these classes are happening. I'm really
So
excited.
please sign up. We unfortunately can't offer these for free because we do want to pay
Yes.
Matthew and
Yeah, we pay our instructors.
We pay our instructors.
Yeah.
But all the money goes to literal costs that we have to pay. There's no one making a profit. It's all time going into this.
But this is one-on-one time with, or 1-on-8 time with actual astronomy professors. So this is, you know.
And
this
Nicole and I drop in occasionally.
Yeah, I went in the last class. The last class filled up quickly.
Yeah.
But I went in for their final projects, and I really enjoyed the final project. So
This is my problem.
I'll
This,
pop
you
in
know,
for that.
this isn't going to scale very easily, but it's cool that we're doing it. I can't think of a way that we can offer 1,000 classes, but
Oh, Fraser.
that's what I want. Some kind of
Trying to give me a heart attack.
So I would like to leave all of you with the biggest giggle I've had all day.
Uh-oh.
Chat 1138 on YouTube suggested that the name for the Milky Way Andromeda collision should be Milk Dromedary.
That's awesome. Milk dromedary. I love it. Some kind of camel that you milk. Okay.
I like to think of as dingleberries.
Oh, and on this note, I am going to officially wrap up tonight's virtual star party. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks everyone for telescoping. That was great. Thanks for bringing us. I'm calling our first Saturn of the season, although I know it's not. It's about our third.
It's okay.
I still think it was awesome.
If
It's the
anyone,
first one we can see Cassini's division.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could.
Yes.
Yes.
if
First
anyone
Cassini division.
lives vaguely in the St. Louis area, I do real live star parties every other Tuesday night. So come hang out with us in the middle of nowhere in Illinois. Woo!
And we're doing a Yuri's night party. Nicole is partying in San Antonio. I am
shoot, I
partying
gotta
in
plan
Edwards. I am partying in Edwardsville, Illinois at Annie's Custard. So join
I'm
us.
gonna go to Vancouver.
Yeah, holy.
Yeah.
Everybody celebrate Yuri's night on Friday night. Why not?
Awesome. All right. All right. We'll see you guys all later.
Thanks, everybody.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Out here in Florida, it's rising off into the southeast, and it's in Libra. It's not quite in Virgo, but it's about, I'm looking with my hand here, about 15 degrees down to the lower left of Spica right now.
Right. Or if you're not that familiar, take the Big Dipper. Hopefully, I mean, Big Dipper tends to be one that most people can find, and the handle makes an arc, right? And if you follow the arc of the handle, I'm not sure I'm bending my finger enough to show. Maybe I'll do it this way, right? So you follow the arc of the handle. It takes you through a bright star called Arcturus, which is somewhat reddish. Then you'll hit another bright star that's a very blue-white star. That's Spica. Saturn is going to be to the left of Spica. It'll be the next kind of bright thing over, about the same brightness as Spica over in that region of the sky. It'll be kind of a yellowish or cream color.
Yeah.
That's how most people describe it.
Yeah. And so,
I've got a stellarium view up if you want
Yeah.
to.
And the way it
switch
gets
to it.
described is arc to Arcturus and spike to Spica.
Okay, so I've had arguments with this. Is it spike to Spica or speed down to Spica? Because I've totally heard both versions.
I've heard speed onto Spica,
Yes!
But spike to spike is this nice parallel construction. I think I like that better.
I know.
That's how I learned it at the Boston Museum of Science when I was a kid.
But how long will that last, right? Because Saturn is moving.
A couple of weeks.
This year. I mean, essentially...
It reaches opposition in 3 weeks.
So it's not moving much.
Yeah.
Right. And because Saturn takes 30 years to go around the Sun, it's going to hang around in this part of the sky, you know, for this year, next year. Then it'll start to drift over closer to Antares. But it moves so slowly.
Actual doctor?
He's a real doctor!
He's a real doctor.
Everybody's a real doctor.
Everyone's a real doctor. But
I just know how to cut people open.
That's all. If we're on an airplane and someone goes, is there any doctor here? Pamela, Nicole, and Thad will put up their hands and they'll go, no, real doctor. And then Stuart will sheepishly put up his hand. And
useful doctor.
Yeah, real doctor. So, yeah, we got Dr. Stuart Foreman. And you're clouded out tonight, but it was good. And I also hung out with Stuart while I was on my West Coast trip. So that was a great time, yeah. That was awesome. All right, and Dr. Thad Szabo.
Good evening.
Who I missed. So I'll get you next time.
I'll be out here for a while, and yeah, like I said, sometime I got to get up to the Pacific Northwest, and
it's paradise. It's awesome. You'll love it. All right, well, I'm gonna go back to Gary. Oh no, David's view. There it is. I'm nice Saturn. I'm calling it the first Saturn of the season. So, for most people who don't understand, the skies move over the course of the year, and
planets move on top of the moving sky.
Right. So why can we not see Saturn every night?
It's either on the day side of the planet, or frankly, it's just behind the sun, and that you can't look through things. It's just a problem.
It's a problem for finding asteroids too. It's why they didn't see the one coming over Russia, because it was coming from the sunward side.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Great, David. I think this looks great. Is it a lot higher than Jupiter was low?
It is, yeah. It's about maybe 15, 20 degrees above the horizon here now. So.
And so if people right now want to find Saturn with their own eyeballs, how can they do it?
Look toward, if you know the constellations anyway, right now.
We got Mike Phillips, who I've also met. This is awesome. I've met everybody here.
We just got to get everybody together in the same room at the same time,
right? Yeah. So, and Mike is, of course, in South Carolina, North Carolina?
North Carolina, yeah.
North Carolina, yeah.
Yes.
And you've got a view of M49, which is a...
Yes. I'm going to make my way through the... we were going to take bets on... it's just one of those iffy, faint fuzzies.
Yeah.
It's actually a galaxy, and I think it's made irregular and elliptical. And it's in the tail of Leo, so I'm going to spend some time, maybe get 3 or 4.
Well, I think it's important for people to know, right? You're our planetary guy,
right?
And you're branching out to DSOs with that telescope. So,
I am, yes.
Yeah.
It's being adapted very slowly here, so I'm climbing the learning curve, and on top of that, my skies are very iffy, but I haven't made one of these in so long I can see stars. I'm going for it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah, no, it sounds great. Dr. Nicole Gallucci.
I'm saving your butt, honey. I am embedding the YouTube link in the events.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I forgot to do that. I'm sure it's on a checklist somewhere, but it didn't even occur to me.
I will share my checklist.
Yeah. Did I write that checklist? I think
No, you didn't. I made a new
No, it's hers.
Okay, all right. I know I did create a checklist. So
you did, but I made a super anal retentive Nicole version.
Well, that's good, because I am not that. So, Dr. Pamela Gay.
Hi.
How's it
We're
going?
glad you're home. We can record Astronomy Cast tomorrow.
Are we gonna? You picked a topic, and I forgot what it was gonna be.
I forgot what it's going to be too, but I can find it. It was cool.
All right. We are terrible.
I'll find it before the end of the show.
I'll dig through the email, yeah. And we've got Dr. Stuart Foreman.
Hi.
Not astrophysicist, doctor. Let's introduce all the people that are with us. Now, right now, we're showing you David Dickinson's view from Florida of Jupiter. And, David, I'm going to tell you that this isn't your best work.
No, it's not. Jupiter's only about 10 degrees above the horizon right now, and it's, we've got a cloud deck moving in, too. So.
And this is not a insult to you, David. This is purely physics here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a very, so just, I'm not giving David a hard time. He's got, Jupiter is very close to the horizon, and he's looking through all kinds of atmosphere, and so Jupiter's looking really soupy. But David has got big plans for us which is that if all goes well, we should get Saturn rising, which will be our first official Saturn sighting of the season. So I cannot wait.
Well, we had it 2 weeks ago, virtual star party.
Was it the one from you or from England?
From me.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
From you? Was it good?
No, it was really cruddy.
Okay.
It was really low to the
Well,
horizon.
good.
Yeah. Looking through. Well, you know what? Tonight is probably going to be the same, where it's going to be sort of through a lot of atmosphere. So yeah.
I may move over there momentarily.
Okay. Well, that'd be great because it looks like your clouds. I know you've got a lot of clouds. So anyway, we're going to move on. We've got Gary and Ella, who I have met in person for the first time last week, which was awesome.
You hung out in the cave.
I've been to the man cave, and I don't know. You can't kind of see, but just above Gary, there's a whole pile of like his airplanes that he's built, and that's an awesome room. I gotta say, I want to build one of these man cave things.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Kyle and I both have our own man caves.
Do you really?
Yeah,
it doesn't. His guitar collection is out of control. So,
across the background of stars, that this description will easily work for the rest of this year.
For variable definitions of close.
Exactly.
Yeah. Horseshoes and hand grenades.
The rings are about 19 degrees tilted with respect to our line of sight right now.
Well, that's something else I was going to mention because, I know that Saturn, the angle of Saturn's rings has been changing over the last couple of years. And in fact, a few years ago, you looked at Saturn and you just saw a ball.
Yeah, it was just this edge on. In 2009, we were not pleased.
It was the equinox.
Well, it was the equinox, and it was also the International Year of Astronomy. So the Cassini mission has been lucky enough to get to watch Saturn go through northern solstice, to equinox, and now it's heading towards southern solstice, which is when the sun will be over its southernmost low point on the surface of Saturn, where the sunlight is coming straight down at a perpendicular to the surface. But as it varies, we go from equinox, its edge on, to it just oscillates back and forth. And this is why Galileo saw it as going from having no rings to having ears. Now, the reason that this is happening isn't because Saturn is actually tilting, it's because Saturn's maintaining a constant tilt relative to the stars, but its position relative to us is changing so that as it gets to be over here, we see a very different angle from when it's over here.
And do you all like to listen to Pamela explain that stuff? Isn't that great? That's Astronomy Cast. So if you want to hear Pamela once a week explain in exactly that way, I highly recommend